If I told you there's one food that could help cut your dementia risk by up to 27%, would you add it to your daily routine starting today? Because the data is becoming hard to ignore. What you eat in your 40s, 50s, and especially after 60 shapes your brain decades later. And there's a particular nutrient that keeps showing up in the research as a powerful protector of long-term cognition. Let's break down what it is, how it works, and why men over 50 should seriously consider making it a part of their everyday eating pattern. As men cross 50, there's a predictable shift in physiology. Muscle mass begins to decline, blood sugar control weakens, inflammation increases, and the brain becomes more sensitive to lifestyle choices than ever before. What used to be optional in your 30s becomes non-negotiable now. You may notice slower recall, reduced focus, lower energy, and sleep that doesn't feel as restorative as it once was. And a lot of this ties back to mitochondrial efficiency, insulin resistance, and low-grade inflammation, three things that directly affect brain health. The good news is that nutrition and lifestyle can drastically influence all three, and this is where the food we're talking about becomes incredibly important. The food linked with a 27% reduction in dementia risk is fatty fish, salmon, sardines, mackerel-rich in long-chain omega-3s, especially DHA. DHA is basically structural material for the brain. If your brain were a building, DHA would be the steel framework. After 50, your body becomes less efficient at converting plant-based omega-3s into DHA, so getting it directly from fatty fish becomes even more crucial. Studies show that individuals who consume fatty fish 2 to 3 times a week have better memory, slower cognitive decline, and healthier brain scans, especially in regions responsible for learning and decision-making. It's not magic, it's biochemistry. DHA reduces inflammation in neural tissue, stabilizes cell membranes, and supports synaptic function, which is your brain's ability to process, store, and retrieve information. But food alone isn't the full story. The way you live your day either amplifies or weakens the effect of good nutrition. If you want to protect your brain, build muscle after 50, and keep your metabolic health strong, you need a layered strategy. Start with protein intake. Most men over 50 don't eat nearly enough high-quality protein to maintain muscle, which is directly linked to insulin sensitivity and brain health. Target 1.2 to 1.6 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight daily. Prioritize whole foods, fish, eggs, lean meats, Greek yogurt, legumes, because your muscle is one of your best long-term defenses against cognitive decline. Physical activity is the second pillar, and it's not just about going for a walk. You need a mixture of strength training, zone 2 cardio, and short bursts of high-intensity work. Strength training preserves lean mass, keeps hormones in a healthier range, and improves glucose management, all essential for long-term brain health. Zone 2 cardio increases mitochondrial efficiency, meaning your brain gets better energy delivery, and occasional intensity spikes help maintain VO2 max, one of the strongest predictors of longevity and late-life independence. Sleep is another non-negotiable. After 50, poor sleep accelerates cognitive decline faster than almost any other lifestyle variable. Aim for consistent sleep and wake times, limit late-night eating, and remove stimulants after mid-afternoon. Your brain clears waste, beta amyloid in particular, during deep sleep. Skip that and your risk rises dramatically. Then there's emotional health. Chronic stress shrinks key parts of the brain over time, especially the hippocampus. Build small daily habits that help regulate your stress-responsive breath work, meditation, a quiet walk, journaling, or simply having a conversation that matters. The point is to give your nervous system room to reset. Now, when you combine all of this, the omega-3 rich fatty fish, the protein-centered diet, the right mix of exercise, prioritize sleep, and regular stress management, you're stacking multiple layers of protection on your brain. These aren't complicated changes. They're simple, repeatable, and backed by strong evidence. And over time, they give you a measurable advantage in whether you maintain sharp thinking, fast recall, and resilience well into your later years. Fatty fish rich in DHA can cut dementia risk by up to 27%. And understanding why this is so powerful begins with understanding how the brain actually works and what happens to it as we age. The human brain is made up of nearly 60% fat, and a major part of that structural fat is DHA, one of the long-chain omega-3 fatty acids found almost exclusively in marine sources. DHA isn't just nutritional decoration. It's what makes your neurons flexible, efficient, and capable of transmitting signals at high speed. When DHA levels are low, cell membranes become rigid, synaptic communication weakens, and inflammation rises inside the brain. Over time, this combination can lead to memory problems, slower processing, poor decision-making, and a higher risk of neurodegenerative diseases. Research consistently shows that people with higher DHA intake have healthier brain volume, better memory function, and slower age-related cognitive decline. It's not coincidence, it's biology responding to its building blocks. When researchers say a 27% reduction in dementia risk, they're not talking about a miracle cure. They're referencing long-term population studies involving thousands of adults who tracked their dietary habits for decades. The group that regularly consumed fatty fish, salmon, sardines, mackerel, anchovies had a significantly lower rate of developing dementia. This difference wasn't small or random. It was a clear pattern showing that consistent intake of omega-3 rich foods provides measurable protection. The body can technically make DHA from plant-based omega-3s like those found in chia or flax seeds, but the conversion rate is incredibly low, often less than 5%. After age 50, it drops even further due to metabolic changes. That means that relying on plant sources alone becomes almost impossible if the goal is to maintain optimal DHA levels. Eating fatty fish 2 to 3 times per week becomes one of the simplest and most effective ways to directly fuel the brain with the material it needs. DHA also plays a major role in controlling inflammation, which is one of the primary drivers of cognitive decline. Chronic inflammation disrupts neural pathways, damages cells, and interferes with the brain's ability to repair itself. DHA has a unique ability to produce specialized compounds called resolvins and protectins. These compounds actively help the brain resolve inflammation rather than just suppress it. That's one of the reasons fatty fish eaters tend to have healthier markers of brain inflammation compared to non-fish eaters. Inflammation is not just about the brain itself either. Systemic inflammation from poor diet, high sugar intake, poor sleep, and inactivity can also damage neurons. Omega-3s help counteract this by improving cell membrane health, reducing oxidative stress, and enhancing blood flow to critical brain regions. One of the fascinating aspects of DHA is its effect on the hippocampus, the part of the brain responsible for memory and learning. Studies show that individuals with higher circulating levels of DHA have a larger, healthier hippocampus. This is especially important for men over 50 because this age group begins to experience natural shrinkage in brain volume. The more protective factors you have in place early on, the better your chances of maintaining strong memory later. Another benefit is that DHA improves neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to form and reorganize connections. Neuroplasticity is crucial for learning new skills, adapting to changes, and recovering from damage. With adequate DHA, the brain remains more flexible and resilient. Beyond memory protection, DHA also supports mood stability. There's increasing evidence showing that low DHA levels are linked with higher rates of depression and anxiety. The brain's signaling chemicals, serotonin, dopamine, and norepinephrine depend on healthy cell membranes to be released and received effectively. DHA helps maintain that balance. While mood regulation may not seem directly related to dementia reduction, it plays a significant role. Chronic stress and poor emotional health are major risk factors for long-term cognitive decline, and anything that stabilizes mood indirectly protects the brain. Another overlooked point is the role of omega-3s in blood vessel health. The brain depends on a consistent supply of oxygen and nutrients, which can only happen if blood vessels remain flexible and open. DHA helps reduce triglycerides, lower inflammation in blood vessels, and improve endothelial function. All of this enhances cerebral blood flow, ensuring the brain receives what it needs to function optimally. Poor blood flow over years or decades severely increases dementia risk. By supporting vascular health, DHA provides another layer of protection. Some people wonder whether supplements can replace eating fatty fish. While high-quality fish oil supplements can help, the research is much stronger for whole food sources. When you eat fish, you get not only DHA but also EPA, high-quality protein, vitamin D, selenium, and other nutrients that work together synergistically. Whole foods provide a nutrient matrix that supplements cannot perfectly replicate. That doesn't mean supplements are useless. They can be helpful for individuals who don't eat fish for dietary or cultural reasons. But the ideal approach is still to include fatty fish as part of a weekly routine. Another important point is timing and consistency. The benefits of DHA aren't immediate. You don't eat salmon today and wake up tomorrow with a sharper brain. It's about long-term accumulation. The brain slowly incorporates DHA into its structures over months and years. That's why the people who experience the greatest protective effect are those who consistently consumed fatty fish over long periods. Think of DHA like an investment. Small deposits over time lead to substantial benefits later. This makes it especially relevant for men in midlife who want to stay mentally strong well into their 70s and 80s. What matters most is simple consistency. 2 to 3 servings a week is enough to build meaningful DHA levels. A serving is roughly the size of your palm. grilled salmon, baked sardines, canned mackerel, or even smoked fish can work. If you can make it a steady part of your eating routine, the benefits accumulate quietly in the background. Your memory stays sharper, your brain stays calmer, your thinking stays quicker, and your long-term risk of cognitive decline drops in a measurable way. Men over 50 must protect muscle, metabolism, and brain health through daily lifestyle choices, and this becomes more important with every passing year, because the physiology of the male body changes in very predictable ways. Around the age of 50, muscle mass begins to decline at a rate of approximately 1% per year, and strength can drop even faster. This loss of muscle is not just a cosmetic issue, it affects everything from mobility to hormone balance to insulin sensitivity. Muscle tissue acts as one of the body's main glucose regulators, helping control blood sugar levels and reduce spikes that damage blood vessels and accelerate aging. When muscle declines, blood sugar becomes harder to manage, inflammation rises, fat storage increases, and the entire metabolic system becomes less efficient. This is why many men notice that weight gain becomes easier, energy levels fall, and recovery from exercise or stress becomes slower after 50. Muscle isn't just about physical power, it's a metabolic organ that affects longevity and brain health, and maintaining it requires consistent, deliberate habits. Another challenge is that testosterone levels begin to decline naturally. Even a modest drop can affect mood, sleep, cognition, and body composition. While hormone therapy is one option for certain individuals under medical supervision, lifestyle remains the foundation. Strength training, adequate protein intake, high-quality sleep, and metabolic fitness can help maintain healthier testosterone levels without medication. Many men underestimate how closely hormones, muscle, and brain performance are linked. When muscle declines, insulin resistance rises. When insulin resistance rises, inflammation increases. When inflammation increases, cognitive function decreases. It becomes a chain reaction that begins with small, daily choices. Protecting your health after 50 is not about doing something extreme. It's about building consistency that keeps the system resilient. One of the first lifestyle choices that starts to matter more is protein intake. The body becomes less efficient at using protein for muscle repair and growth as we age, a process known as anabolic resistance. That means eating the same amount of protein you did in your 30s won't produce the same results in your 50s. Most men over 50 need somewhere between 1.2 to 1.6 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight to maintain or build muscle. Prioritizing protein at every meal helps support muscle repair, reduces hunger, stabilizes blood sugar, and improves overall metabolic function. High-quality sources include fish, eggs, lean meats, Greek yogurt, and legumes. When protein becomes the anchor of each meal, everything else becomes easier. Better energy, better body composition, and better long-term brain health. The brain benefits because stable blood sugar, lower inflammation, and healthier blood vessels create an environment where cognitive decline slows down. Beyond protein, movement becomes a critical part of protecting overall health. Men over 50 benefit most from a combination of strength training, zone 2 cardio, and occasional high-intensity bursts. Strength training 2 to 4 times per week helps maintain muscle mass and function. The focus should be on compound movements such as squats, rows, deadlifts, presses, and carries, adjusted to personal ability and joint health. Zone 2 cardio, exercise at a pace where you can still speak in full sentences, improves mitochondrial function and metabolic efficiency. This type of training directly improves the way the body uses oxygen and energy, which has profound effects on both heart and brain health. Short, controlled bursts of high-intensity activity help maintain VO2 max, one of the strongest predictors of long-term survival and late life independence. These 3 forms of exercise create a powerful combination for maintaining strength, metabolic health, and cognitive function. Sleep is another cornerstone that influences multiple systems at once. After 50, sleep quality often declines due to hormonal changes, stress, or lifestyle habits. Poor sleep affects memory consolidation, emotional regulation, immune function, and metabolic health. The brain clears waste, like beta amyloid, during deep sleep, and inadequate sleep interferes with that process. Over time, this increases dementia risk and accelerates cognitive decline. Establishing consistent sleep routines, limiting caffeine in the afternoon, reducing late night eating, and creating a cool, dark sleeping environment can dramatically improve sleep quality. Improving sleep is one of the simplest ways to improve brain clarity, mood, energy, and metabolic health without medication. Stress management also becomes more important because chronic stress elevates cortisol levels, which can break down muscle tissue, disrupt sleep, increase abdominal fat, weaken the immune system, and harm the hippocampus, the brain area responsible for memory and learning. Daily stress management practices don't need to be elaborate. Even 5 minutes of deep breathing, a short walk in nature, a mindfulness session, or a simple gratitude practice can regulate the nervous system. Lowering stress over time supports emotional stability, protects brain function, and improves metabolic resilience. The goal isn't to eliminate stress, which is impossible, but to improve your ability to recover from it. Nutrition beyond protein also plays a major role. Increasing whole foods such as vegetables, fruits, nuts, seeds, whole grains, and healthy fats supports metabolic and cardiovascular health. Avoiding excessive sugar, processed foods, and refined carbohydrates helps maintain stable blood sugar and protects the brain from inflammation and vascular damage. Hydration also becomes more important as thirst sensation decreases with age. Even mild dehydration can affect focus, exercise performance, and cognitive clarity. Drinking water consistently throughout the day helps support energy, digestion, and brain function. A strong lifestyle foundation also includes regular health screenings. Men after 50 should monitor blood pressure, lipid levels, blood sugar, kidney function, and inflammation markers. Early detection of small issues allows for early interventions that can prevent long-term problems. Many men avoid screenings because they feel fine, but issues such as hypertension or prediabetes often remain silent until damage is done. A preventive mindset is far more effective than waiting for symptoms to appear. What gives men over 50 the greatest long-term advantage is consistency. Small daily actions, enough protein, regular strength training, stable blood sugar, quality sleep, stress regulation, hydration, and routine medical checks have a compounding effect. These choices protect muscle, metabolism, and brain function at the same time because all three systems are interconnected. A strong body supports a strong mind, and a strong metabolism supports both. When men take ownership of these habits, they improve not just lifespan, but health span, meaning the number of years lived with strength, clarity, and independence. Strong nutrition, strength training, sleep, and stress control work together to preserve long-term cognition. And understanding how these four pillars interact is essential for anyone who wants to maintain mental sharpness well into older age. Cognitive decline does not happen overnight. It develops slowly over decades, shaped by daily habits that either support or damage the brain. When these four areas are optimized together, they create a protective environment for the brain, enhancing memory, focus, processing speed, and overall resilience. When even one of them is consistently neglected, it creates a vulnerability that accelerates aging. The power lies not in any single habit, but in the synergy between them because the brain thrives on balance, stability, and repeated exposure to healthy stimuli. Nutrition forms the foundation because the brain is constantly rebuilding itself. Every thought, memory, and new skill requires fuel and structural materials. Nutrient-dense foods supply antioxidants, healthy fats, amino acids, vitamins, and minerals that help neurons function and repair. Foods rich in omega-3s help build flexible cell membranes, while colorful vegetables and fruits provide polyphenols that fight oxidative stress. Stable blood sugar protects blood vessels and reduces inflammation, two factors deeply linked with cognitive decline. Men and women who maintain balanced eating patterns over decades tend to show slower brain aging, stronger memory, and healthier brain volume. When your diet consistently supports stable energy and low inflammation, the brain performs more efficiently and becomes more resilient to damage. Strength training plays a direct and indirect role in brain health. Most people think of resistance training as something that benefits the muscles, but its impact extends far beyond strength. When you train your muscles, you stimulate myokines, chemical messengers that improve brain plasticity, support neurogenesis, and reduce inflammation. The act of building or maintaining muscle also improves insulin sensitivity, which helps stabilize blood sugar levels. Stable blood sugar is crucial because glucose spikes can damage blood vessels and reduce blood flow to the brain. Resistance training also increases growth factors such as BDNF, which supports the growth and survival of new neurons. This is why individuals who engage in regular strength training often have better memory and executive function compared to those who do not. Muscle health also influences balance, mobility, and independence, all of which reduce stress and increase overall well-being, contributing to a healthier brain environment. Sleep is one of the most powerful yet overlooked tools for preserving cognitive function. During deep sleep, the brain activates a system called the glymphatic system, which clears out waste products like beta, amyloid, and tau proteins. These substances, when allowed to accumulate, are strongly associated with dementia and Alzheimer's disease. Sleep also consolidates memories, repairs neural connections, regulates hormones, and stabilizes mood. Poor or inconsistent sleep affects attention, memory, learning ability, Emotional regulation and metabolic health. Over time, chronic sleep restriction accelerates brain aging and increases inflammation. People who prioritize sleep often experience clearer thinking, better focus, more stable energy, and slower cognitive decline. Quality sleep acts as a nightly reset button for the brain, preparing it for the demands of the next day. Without this reset, the brain functions like an overloaded computer, sluggish, foggy, and increasingly dysfunctional. Stress control is equally important because chronic stress exposes the brain to very high levels of cortisol, a hormone that becomes harmful when it remains elevated for too long. High cortisol shrinks the hippocampus, which is the center of memory and learning. It also interferes with the growth of new neurons and increases inflammation throughout the body. Stress affects sleep quality, eating patterns, immune function, and emotional regulation, creating a ripple effect that harms brain health. Managing stress does not mean eliminating it. It means developing routines that help the body recover. Activities like breathwork, meditation, nature walks, exercise, or even simple hobbies calm the nervous system and lower cortisol levels. When stress is managed well, the brain becomes more capable of forming new connections, more adaptable, and more resistant to decline. Emotional stability also reduces unhealthy coping behaviors like overeating, alcohol misuse, or isolation, all of which negatively affect brain function over time. What makes these four pillars so powerful is the way they reinforce each other. Good nutrition improves sleep quality and supports physical performance. Strength training reduces stress and makes sleep more restorative. Better sleep improves metabolic function, reduces cravings, and stabilizes mood. Stress control improves dietary discipline, reduces emotional eating, and increases motivation to exercise. This interconnected system forms a cycle of positive reinforcement, each part strengthening the others. When all four are practiced consistently, the brain receives continuous support from every angle. Better blood flow, better energy supply, lower inflammation, sharper memory pathways, and stronger neural structures. This synergy creates a brain that ages slowly, remains flexible, and stays capable of learning, adapting, and functioning at a high level even as the decades pass.